Hi there, and welcome back to this series on how to successfully create a garden or a landscape lighting design. This is video 6 of 6, so if you haven't watched videos 1 to 5 already, I suggest you do that first. However, if you are up to date, keep watching. Hi, I'm James. I'm one of the directors here at Astra Lumos, and today I'll be continuing and finishing the series on how to successfully create a garden or landscape lighting design. In this final video, what we're going to talk about is lighting controls for gardens. I have touched on lighting controls previously. I did a series on Rayco, what is Rayco, how it works, why we recommend it, and why it's quite often our go-to lighting control product. Essentially, for garden lighting, there are several ways in which you can start controlling your outdoor lighting. So let's just start with the simple stuff. So either just have it on a normal indoor or outdoor light switch, so straight on or off. Sort of the next step on that is you could have it as timed, and then in coordination with the timer, you can have a photocell. For example, on my property, me personally, I have a small little house sign at the end of my drive, which has a tiny little downlight above the number, and that's just because along my road the numbers are quite hard to see on the houses. So I put one out the front just so that when I have deliveries, especially during the winter months, it means that people can find my house quite easily. This little light is both on a timer and a photocell. So I've set it to come on at 3 in the afternoon and go off at 11 p.m. at night as long as it's dark. So that way, as the summer days get longer and the nights get shorter, the photocell essentially does the hard work for me. And this means that I don't actually have to constantly keep an eye on it or make sure that I'm constantly changing the time. The photocell is the clever bit that just says, well, it's not dark enough, it's not dark enough, right, it's dark enough, the timer's already saying yes, and then the light comes on. The next thing we can go into is either wired or wireless controls. And they are becoming quite popular on sort of DIY and actually there's a better way to talk about this. So from a lighting control perspective, there are basic systems and there are obviously more complicated systems. Rayco, for example, is what I would call would be a high-end lighting control system. Something like a Light Symphony or a Wisebox controller, I would say, would be on the more simple side of things. Wise is a robust system, which I've done a review on, something that we do use a lot when clients are only looking for essentially an on-off, but a wireless or an app control. Rayco would be generally used where the client or the customer has a Rayco system on the inside, and then that way we can just expand the Rayco system to the outdoor lighting. Rayco is complicated, more complicated, but it just gives you that much more fine control. So not only would we be able to designate areas within the lighting system, we would also be able to create scenes with that. So for example, on a recent project we did for a client based in Stratford, she has a wonderful patio, and then it leads onto a garden. And she sometimes likes to just sit on the patio with a book and look out into a garden. So one of the scenes was essentially a reading scene. And what this was is we used a light with a flexible directional rod, which so she can basically sit in a seat, adjust this rod over so it's on her book. So that is at 100% brightness. Everything around her is at sort of 15%, and then the garden that she looks out over is also at 15%. So you just get this nice warm glow. You can see your garden, you can see the plants, but what she is reading is bright and readable. That is probably one of the key selling points and also the key parts to having a Rayco system in the fact that you can do that really fine tuning. Something like a wise box, like the video earlier, you can generally just sort of either have an on off. They do a dimming capability. As for the scenes and the areas, that all depends on how it's wired. So what we do for our clients is we generally establish how they're going to use their garden, what's really important to them. First we then create the design, wire that design so that it can be adapted in the future, and then that way we are able to create these areas and these scenes that are specific to the client's requirements. And then as another easy win, I guess, if you've got sort of a lot of outdoor lanterns on your property and sort of post lights in your garden, you could just swap them for smart light bulbs, and then just use like a phone app that you can then just adjust the time and the color and things like that for the light bulbs themselves. So I just touched on this, but I'll touch on it again. So a major consideration for outdoor lighting control is it an existing installation, in which case you've probably got minimal ways in which you can control it. Are you adding to an existing installation with an existing control system, or is this going to be a completely new installation, in which case you could probably tailor everything specifically to yourself or your client. I hope this, once again, we're sort of just touching on things a little bit more high level. If you've got any questions or comments, do let me know. Either give me a phone call or drop me an email, and I'll happily be able to explain a bit more. Or if you're starting to go down this rabbit hole for yourself, but you're thinking it's a little bit more complicated than you expected, do reach out, and I'm sure we can help you in any way we can. Well, that's it. That's the final video. I'm hoping by now, after watching all 6, you should be able to at least come up with a basic lighting design with an idea of what not to do, what light fittings to use, where to use them, trying not to disturb the environment too much whilst also enjoying your garden or your landscape in the evening, and finally how to control your landscape lighting. As I said, any comments, queries, or if you want a video on something in particular, just give me a call or an email, or even if you just drop a comment underneath this video and I'll get back to you. Hopefully see you on the next set of videos from us at Astra Lumos. We'll see you soon.